the one, the only, Ben Sion.
Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Iyun Sion. Today we did Succah Succah, Perek Hey, Mishnah Beis and Gil. Mishnah Beis talks about Simchas Beis Shaleva that was on the Beis Hamikdash. Originally, the Gemara explains they used to have the men and women standing together watching. There were certain people that danced. It was like the dancing at a wedding, basically. People, even the big Rabbanim were dancing. But they used to come to Kalas Rosh, the Gemara says. Kalas levity, they were joking around with each other, flirting with each other. They didn't want that. And the Gemara says, if men and women are supposed to be separate by a levaya, right, by a funeral, then they should be celebrated all the more so when it comes to something which is joyous. That's right, and therefore they made a takana that women should be seated on top and the men on the bottom watching. They shouldn't intermingle. Now this is a source for various halachas. This Gemara, when you daven, you have to have a mechitza. There's no source in the Gemara that says you have to have a mechitza. Right? There's different opinions. Some Rabbanim say you could see through it a little bit. Some see it has to be completely closed. Some people put the woman on the top floor, and there's a little window in the Mir Yeshiva. There's basically a teeny little window to see from the. Hasidim do this because Tikkun Gadol. Now, I think there's a big distinction. I mentioned the regular share. I saw a letter yesterday floating around in the base medrash. Maybe I'll put it on my channel one time because I scanned it onto my phone because I was appalled by what these Rabbanim signed on, apparently. Well, it was probably an old letter. It was signed by some Gedolim already passed away. I'm talking about almost all the Gedolim. It basically, it said, Isser Chomer. It's not just forbidden, but it's a terrible Aveira to go to a hotel. Even a firm hotel. Even a place where they have the best kashrus in the world. Because what? In the lobbies, there's men and women together. In the dining room, you don't sit with other women from other families. You sit with your family. But the other woman, there should be a mechitza there. You know, when you go to hear speakers speak, man and woman can't be sitting next to each other in the same area. They have to have a mechitza between the man and the woman. You know, I saw there's supposed to be a speech, not a speech, some sort of program or something like that in Lakewood. Men only. Why men only? They can't have, even mechitza between men and women is not allowed. It's kind of crazy. But they have a source, legitimate. The Gemara Masechah Sukkah says they used to bond the Kalas Rosh, Simchas Beis Shaleva. They used to have levity, separate the man and woman. So therefore, and the Gemara says Kal v'chomer. If at a funeral, the Navi seems to indicate that Gvarim, Anashim l'chud v'nashim l'chud. The Gemara says men and women are separate. So too, Simchas Beis Shaleva, the time of Simcha, where there's more levity, they have to be separated. Now, originally, it wasn't like that. They made a takana. So, according to Din Torah, there's no problem with it. Why is there no problem with it? The reason there's no problem with it is because men and women should be intermingling. They should be flirting with each other. It helps you find a girlfriend. It helps you get married. That's the normal way of doing it. It's not organic, the current shidduch system. Most men and women are thrown into meeting women or men for the first time. It's completely unnatural. You have no idea how to speak to the other one. It's completely inorganic, and I think it's a tremendous mistake what is normally done over here in the current shidduch system. Certainly by the Hasidim, who don't even get a chance to meet. They just basically meet for a half an hour just as a formality, and the parents basically arrange the marriages. No, the Torah encourages this. Yes, there will be people that take it overboard. They sleep around. It happens. The Torah, just like having a smartphone, people will use it for illicit purposes, but the world is the world. You can't run away from the world. Anyone who wants to be in business knows they need all that accessibility of an unfiltered smartphone. To make their life impossible, they have to go with all these stupid phones that they come up with. No, Hashem doesn't want to make life hard for you. It's supposed to be pleasant, Judaism. Not supposed to be like that. The reason these Rabbanim make these is because they live in ivory towers. These Rabbanim, they dedicate their whole lives to being Rosh Yeshiva. They don't leave the base medrash their entire life. They don't go to the working world. They don't know what it takes. And people come and then they insist Das Torah. The Rabbanim are the only one who insists Das Torah. They have no source for this, but they insist on Das Torah. So no one can argue. There's a censorship going on. You can't argue on the Rabbanim, right? Because they insist on Das Torah, and the people are led to believe in these Das Torah, and they inculcate this in all the yeshivas and all the seminaries. The same Rabbanim who are living in ivory tower, they're teaching all these things and teaching Das Torah, giving power to themselves when they deserve no power and have no knowledge of what's going on. So it's very sad what goes on. But in order to get back to today, Tikkun Gadol, the reason that the Gemara specifies these things is because it's not because the flirting was essentially bad or it was terrible for the men and women to be mixed together because it might lead to something illicit. It's because the two examples the Gemara gives are Simchas Beis Shoeva and a funeral. At a funeral, it's not appropriate to have levity because you want to have respect for the dead person. So to go ahead and flirt with other people, it detracts from. It's not inherently bad to flirt with women. It's just it detracts from the. It detracts from the funeral. You're supposed to be sad at a funeral. And Kol Shekain, when it comes to Simchas Beis Shoeva, we'll see the next Mishnah tomorrow, that it was supposed to be a spectacle. You're supposed to enjoy Simchas Yontiv, to see tremendous dancing, tremendous fun. They had a lot of fun at the Simchas Beis Shoeva. They would juggle, they would dance. When you engage in levity, people who are socializing, people who are flirting with women, they just leave the Simchas Beis Shoeva, and no one's watching anymore. You don't enjoy what you're doing, and it ruins the whole atmosphere. There's no crowd anymore. So, there's no crowd at a funeral, there's no crowd at the Simchas Beis Shoeva. It ruins the whole venue. But when you go to a wedding, if the wedding was there just dancing, which I recommend weddings just to be, I think abrogate the entire meal. The meal is what makes it so costly for people. Get rid of the meal. Have a private meal after the dancing, and in a small private affair where only the closest friends and family come. And this way, the chazan kal could actually eat at the wedding. For the dancing, right? If you're gonna mingle during the dancing, right? That's not good because it's gonna detract. No one's gonna want to dance. People are more interested in flirting than being sameach chasam v'kal. It's a nice mitzvah. But when you're eating, why do you have to have separate seating for the meals? That's where you're separate seating the meals. No. I mean, I went to a wedding, the last wedding I went to, I hadn't gone to a wedding for years. I went to a wedding before Pesach. And I vowed afterwards, I'm never going to another wedding again. Unless it's like close family. With separate seating. I said, I'm sitting at a table, literally, with 10 men, who I don't know who they are. Maybe some of them I know a little bit. And I'm schmoozing with men. Why do I want to schmooze with strange men? Have I any interest in doing that? No. I'd much rather be sitting with my wife. At least I have someone who I enjoy talking to, a woman, right? Or if you're a single man, you want to enjoy yourself, talk to other women. If you're a man and you're a single man, you just want to talk to other men, that makes you, sounds like you're not so interested in women, right? I mean, of course, in yeshivas, chas shalom, talk to a woman, you like the Torah more than you like women. Honestly, ask Talmidei Chachamim, what do they like better, Torah or women? They won't answer the question. Because they preach to all their Talmidim, they love Torah the most. Ava Rabbah, you have to love Torah the most. Secretly, they love Torah the most. They don't care about their wives. They don't love their wives. If they had to choose between one or the other, they choose Torah 100% of the time. And the women, they try to fake that they're interested in their wife, but they're not interested in their wives. You can make a decision in your life. Either you're interested in this world. If you're interested in this world, you're interested in women. Or you're interested in growing in Torah and being a Gadol Ador, then you're interested in the Torah. You can't have both. You can't have both. Torah, learning Torah day and night, especially during night Seder, takes you away from being normal. And being normal is chasing after women and loving women. So that's just the reality of it. But the meal, it should be mixed seating. Not go to a hotel because there's men and women in a lobby together. I mean, this is ridiculous. A lot of people here in Israel don't go out to restaurants. I have brother-in-laws who don't go out to restaurants. It's inappropriate. First of all, it's hard for them to afford it, but even for special occasions where they should be affording it, they're not allowed to go. You're not allowed to go. My Rosh Hashiva told me, the only time you go out to restaurants is when a family comes. Now, if it's not okay to go to restaurants, why do you go when your family comes, when his parents treat them? You're too embarrassed to say that's my policy? You're being supported by your parents? That's really what's going on. You're forced in that situation. Really, ideally, you never go out to a restaurant because there's mixed seating at the restaurant. Come on, I mean, you can't walk in the street then. How can you walk in the street? How can you go in the middle of the street? There's women in the middle of the street. Oh, so you can do that to go to Beis Medrash because Shulchan Mitzvah Eini Zogin. But you go to the store to buy groceries? No, sit in the house all day and learn. This is what the Gedolim do. And they don't understand that normal people have to do it, to have a normal life. They put undue burden on their wives, on their spouses. And no one talks about it. Their spouses are abused most of the time. But the wives, they tell their wives they're going to share Olam Haba together. They guarantee their wives are going to share a huge Olam Haba together. How many Rabbanim will come back from the dead and tell me how big their Olam Haba is, honestly? So it's really sad, and there's censorship in the Jewish world. You can't argue on Das Torah in the Frum Orthodox world, and it's kind of sad because the people that are giving these opinions are all Rabbanim who have never experienced the real world, never gotten jobs, never experienced the real world, who promulgate this idea of everyone has to learn in Kollel, and basically the yeshiva system where they inculcate the students with this knowledge, and it's considered b'di'evid, to get a job. You don't get a good shidduch if you get a job. It's really very sad what's going on in the Jewish world, and it's a misunderstanding of this Mishnah. And again, when you're focused, even davening, technically you could be together. I don't think you need a machitza for davening. People are preoccupied with their davening usually. They're not going to flirt with women. And if they do flirt, it's their own davening that they're losing. The point is at a funeral and Simchas Beis Sheva, you're supposed to make a venue. You're supposed to be respectful of the dead person. You want to create a Simchas Beis Sheva. So therefore, flirting takes away from that. When you're davening, if you lose, it's your own loss. So you have to make that choice. The Torah allows you to have free choice, and it should allow you to have free speech and free choice as much as possible. We shouldn't be taking away from people because we think we know better, and saying it's a chomer. You have to see this letter. I'm appalled by this letter, without even getting any sources. Why is it Isser chomer? It's a terrible Isser. Please don't overdo the Torah. It's a bland. A complete violation of the Isser of Baal Tosef. You're adding on to the Torah, you're saying this is what the Torah adds, when it's definitely not forbidden. It's with smartphones, with these gatherings. There's so many times that Rabbanim violate Baal Tosef and the Torah, and it's very sad because that's what the sin of Adam and Chava was ultimately. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.